Bidmas indices. In this nugget, we're learning to order operations involving indices. Squaring and cubing are both examples of indices. A square number is the result of multiplying a number by itself. So 2 times 2 is the same as 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. A cubed number is the result of multiplying a number by itself and by itself again. So 2 times 2 times 2 would be 8, as 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 is 8. Two cubed is also 8. A good way to remember the order of operations is by thinking of Bidmas. Each letter in the word stands for an operation. In Bidmas, the first B stands for brackets. You'll solve the operation inside the brackets first. The next part of Bidmas is an I for indices. This is what we'll be focusing on in this nugget, particularly squaring and cubing numbers. The next part is division and multiplication, D and M. These are operations of equal priority. We simply complete the operations in order from left to right. The next part of Bidmas is A and S for add and subtract. Again, they're operations of equal priority. They come last in Bidmas, but if you have both of them in a problem, again, you'd solve them from left to right. We need to follow the order of operations to solve problems correctly. Here's our first example, 12 plus 3 squared. First, we identify the operations, indices, and addition. We know from Bidmas that we need to solve the indices first, and then we're going to add. 3 squared is 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. Then we just add the 12. 12 plus 9 is 21. The answer to this problem is 21. Now it's your turn. Identify the operations and then solve them in the correct order using Bidmas. Pause the video if you need time to think. We can identify the operations with indices and then multiplication. So first we're going to solve 2 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, because 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. Then we need to multiply 8 by 11 next. 11 times 8 is 88. The answer to this problem is 88. Here's another example. Again, we first identify the operations. There's an operation inside brackets, an index number, and also a multiplication. We know from Bidmas we've got to solve the operation within the brackets first. Then we've got to find the result of the index number, and then we need to multiply. So first we solve 11 minus 6 as it's inside brackets. 11 minus 6 is 5. Then we'll find the result of the index number. 2 cubed is 8. Then we multiply the results of both of those operations. 8 times 5 is 40. The answer to this problem is 40. Here's another example. First, we identify the operations. First, we've got to solve the operation within the brackets, and then we'll find the result of the index number, and then we'll multiply, and finally, we'll divide. It's an operation of equal priority with multiplication, but we still go from left to right. So, first let's solve the operation within the brackets. 2 plus 2 is 4. Then we find the result of the index number. 4 times 4 is 16. After that, we solve the operations of equal priority, multiplication and division. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 divided by 4 is 8. The answer to this problem is 8. Now it's your turn. Have a go at solving this problem. Pause the video if you need time to think. Again, first identify all the operations, like this. And then we make sure we complete the operations in the order of Bidmas. So first, let's solve the operation within the brackets. Next, let's find the result of the index number. After that, we need to multiply. And finally, we subtract. So 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 squared, the same as 8 times 8, is 64. After that, we multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. And finally, we subtract. 64 minus 4 is 60. The answer to this problem is 60. A good way to remember the order of operations is by thinking of Bidmas. Each letter in the word stands for an operation. The B in Bidmas stands for brackets. You solve the operations inside the brackets first. The next thing you need to do is find the result of any index numbers, the indices. For example, 2 squared or 3 cubed. After that, you divide or multiply, the D and M in Bidmas. These are operations of equal priority. If you have to divide and multiply, you just solve them from left to right. Finally, the A and S in Bidmas stands for add and subtract, again of equal priority. Try to remember all about Bidmas.